Welcome to Bob's Transit Van. In this video, it's time to get my floor installed. Let's go! Alright, so I got my paper template. I didn't show any of that, that's just boring stuff. But, so I've got my paper template, and I taped and glued together a bunch of boxes that I had left from getting in van parts. So I've got my paper template laid down on the cardboard, and I'm going to cut out a template out of cardboard. Then I can use that to fine tune. Alright, tools for cutting cardboard. I've got a square, got a ruler, so I can use those as straight edges so I get some straight lines. And I've got a piece of 1/4-inch plywood that I've been using to cut on things. I put this between the cardboard and my garage floor so I don't dull my box cutter as quickly. I've got a box cutter with a new blade in it, and I've got my gloves to protect my hands against paper cuts and box cutter cuts. Alright, so I got my cardboard cut. It's laying in the van. I had to trim a little bit around the wheel wells so it would lay flat. I took it all the way back here to the back because I've got the factory rear door sill that I'll put in. They should meet up fairly close. Now I just have to figure out where I'm going to put the full sheet of plywood, which is 48.5-inch wide, versus the one that's only going to be about a little less than 3 feet. I think I'm going to put the full sheet at the front, and then the next one, and then have the partial back here. That way I won't have a seam in the middle of the part that's projecting out into the door opening. Alright, so I've got my plywood laid out, and I traced my cardboard template on there, getting ready to cut around the lines. Alright, so here's the cutout plywood fit in there for the first time. I got my hole up front for my Webasto heater. Fits pretty good. I'll be putting expanding foam around the edges once I get it in there for the final time. Also, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody use dowels, but I'm going to put dowels between the pieces of plywood to try to keep them level. I've seen people use biscuits and pocket holes, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody use dowels. Also, I'm going to be priming both sides of the plywood and painting the top, because I'm not putting my final flooring inside the cabinets, only on the aisleway. Alright, now time to take it out and start sanding and getting ready to prime it. Alright, to drill my holes for my dowels, I marked lines across the seams And now I'm using this Dalet Jig. The way it works is there's lines right in here that you line up with the lines you've marked on the wood, depending on what size you want to do. There's 6 different sizes of dowels on it, I think. And so this is the 3/8 inch hole right here. So it should be centered on this line. And then when I do it on the other side of the floor, those should line up perfectly. Alright, I've got the plywood for my floor in the garage. This is the bottom side facing up. I've got 2 coats of Kilz primer. I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so this is what I'm using for the primer. It's Kilz Mold and Mildew Interior Exterior Primer. Once this is dry tomorrow, I'll turn them over, prime the other side, and then paint them. So I got 2 coats of paint on my floor. Alright, so to glue my floor down to the floor of the van, I'm using my Ryobi electric caulk gun. And the adhesive I'm using is the Loctite PL400. This stuff is supposed to be usable from 0 all the way to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so even though it's only about 50 degrees out, it'll still be alright. Also, I'll be using some black nitrile gloves to keep the sealer off my hands, or the adhesive off my hands. So I got weights and motorcycle wheels in there on top of the cardboard to weigh down the plywood, make sure it adheres well. I'll leave that overnight and take the wheels and the weights out tomorrow. Alright, here's the finished floor. It's been in there for about a week. I've driven with it. It doesn't squeak or anything. I bought this rear sill plate off of eBay because the cargo van doesn't come with it. And I'll put some trim between that and the plywood floor at some point. I also put some of the expanding foam around the edges just to hopefully seal out any water. I think it turned out pretty good. Over here on the sliding door, I built a frame out of black 80/20 to support the part that hangs over so I don't break it off or something.